It's week 12 and these Rockets have a blue glare, which can mean only one thing. We're in Riverhog country and they host losers of 5 straight and division rival Denver. Portland comes out of the tunnel ready for battle, but the story of the day would be the play of that man, Patrick Mahomes. Broncos' second play of the game, Keenum fakes and throws to his right where Courtland Sutton makes the catch, stays in bounds and picks up 14 yards and a first down. Next play, it's Keenum with the fake again and finding Troy Fumagalli for 17 more into Portland territory. Then on 3rd and 3, Keenum continues to spread it around as he finds Jake Butt for 8 yards to convert. But Keenum's fortunes change on the next play as he fakes to Lindsey, looks to throw and runs around like a lost puppy before running into a brick wall and fumbling. Justin Houston runs right by the ball and Denver gets it back, and that would be costly for Portland as on the next play it's Keenum squeezing it into Butt for 15 yards to set up 3rd and 12, where Keenum's throwing again. Blitz gets picked up, giving Keenum time to find Demarius Thomas for 21 yards over the middle and set up 1st and goal. Portland does get it to 3rd and goal, but Keenum finds Emmanuel Sanders in the back of the end zone for the 3-yard score, his 6th of the season, and the Broncos' opening drive takes almost 6 minutes off the clock and gives them a 7-0 lead. Portland's turn now, and on their first play it's Mahomes to Ricky Seals-Jones for 13 yards on a first down. 3 plays later, Portland at midfield and Mahomes fires a rocket to Sammy Watkins for 21 to the Denver 30. Then on 2nd and 10, Brandon Oliver takes it up the middle and pushes his way forward, ending up just shy of the marker. And on 3rd and inches, Spencer Ware is able to move the chains with a 2-yard carry. And 5 plays later, 3rd and goal, Mahomes looking to throw but gets flushed to his left and decides he's going to take it himself, and he walks in untouched for the score, and Portland responds with a 6.5-minute drive of their own to tie things up at 7. Then on the Broncos' first play, it's Keenum to Sutton on the crosser, who gets hit immediately and the ball comes out, and the Riverhogs are right there to dive on it, so Portland takes over. But on 3rd and 2, Spencer Ware gets stuffed for only 1 yard, bringing up 4th down. But have no fear, the bulldozer is here, and Kirkland Hebert picks up 4 on 4th and inches, and the gamble pays off as on the next play Mahomes throwing, drifting to his left and finding Ricky Seals-Jones for the 14-yard score, his 2nd of the year, and following the turnover, Portland takes a 14-7 lead. Second quarter now, 5th play of the Denver drive, and Keenum rolls to his right and throws back to the middle to Demarius Thomas for 22 yards to the Portland 32. Then on 3rd and 6, it's Keenum throwing, and he goes over the middle to Thomas again, who takes it all the way down inside the 5 to the Portland 2-yard line. And 2 plays later, it's Phillip Lindsay taking it off the left side and finding his way into the end zone for the score, and Denver answers back with a touchdown to tie things up at 14. So back to Portland we go, where they're faced with a 3rd and 17, but that's no match for Mahomes as he moves to his right and finds Ricky Seals-Jones, who keeps his feet in bounds for the 21-yard catch to convert. 3 plays later, 3rd down again, and it's Ricky Seals-Jones again, this time for 16 yards as Portland enters Denver territory. Then on 2nd and 10, Mahomes throws short to Tyreek Hill to move the chains again as he picks up 11 to the Bronco 29. And 6 plays later, on 3rd and 10, Mahomes moves to his right and fires a Seals-Jones seeking missile down the seam for the 19-yard score, and the perfect throw gives Ricky Seals-Jones his 2nd score of the game, Mahomes his 3rd total for the half, and Portland once again takes a 7-point lead. Broncos come firing right back though, and on 2nd and 9, Keenum moves to his right and finds Demarius Thomas for the sideline catch and pickup of 29. Then 2 plays later, Keenum throwing again, rolling to his right and saying, "I like big plays to Butt, and I cannot lie," as the completion goes for 32 yards, setting up 1st and goal. Then on 3rd and goal, Keenum throwing again, and somebody put an Amber Alert out on the Portland pass rush as Keenum runs all the way back to the 22 before correcting his compass and finding Emmanuel Sanders for the 7-yard score, and Denver continues to go blow for blow with Portland as they once again tie things up at 21. But this first half isn't done yet, as on Portland's first play, Mahomes hits Tyreek Hill on the crosser, and he takes it across midfield for 34 yards to the Bronco 41. 2 plays later, and Brandon Oliver finds a cutback lane and picks up 11 more and a new set of downs. Next play, Mahomes with the fake and throws over the middle to Albert Wilson, who spins his way down to the Denver 11 for 18 yards. And on the following play, it's Mahomes to Wilson again as he steps up and fires another strike for the 11-yard score, and Mahomes now with a touchdown run and 3 touchdown passes to give Portland a 28-21 lead as we head into the break. But the Mahomes momentum would hit a major roadblock in the 3rd quarter, as on his first pass, it's Sua Cravens picking it off and giving the Denver offense an immediate chance at points as they would start their drive at the Riverhogs 31. And on their first play, it's Keenum with the play fake and putting the ass in pass as he finds Butt for the 19-yard completion, but then on 3rd and 3, Keenum looking to throw and fires it into the end zone where Eric Berry drops the pick, and on 4th down, Brandon McManus comes on and nails the 22-yard field goal, cutting the Portland lead to 4. Then just 2 plays later, it's Sua Cravens again making the play, hitting Mahomes this time. Ball comes out, Brandon Marshall dives on it, and Denver once again takes over deep in Portland territory, and they would fully capitalize this time as Case Keenum, when asked where the most exotic place he's ever thrown a touchdown was, replied with "in the butt," and the Jake Butt 18-yard score puts Denver out in front as they now take a 31-28 lead. Portland goes 3 and out, giving it right back to Denver, and it's Keenum going right back to Butt for 15 yards to midfield. Then next play, Keenum throwing again, steps up and out of the pocket, taking off and picking up 19 before being cross-checked down at the Portland 32. Broncos continue to roll as Royce Freeman's replacement Philip Lindsay finds a crease and nearly scores, but is tripped up inside the 5 as Denver sets up 1st and goal, where Keenum drops back and finds Emmanuel Sanders for his 3rd touchdown catch of the game, and the Broncos punch the Riverhogs in the mouth with 17 points in the first 7 minutes of the 3rd quarter and take a 38-28 lead. Riverhogs need to respond, but on 3rd and 2, Mahomes fires out to Tyreek Hill, who can't get forward, bringing up 4th down. Andy Reid furious as Portland once again gives it back to Denver, but on 3rd and 5 from inside their 10, Keenum looking to throw and escapes to his right as Kendall Fuller chases. Keenum throws it away and Portland will get it right back, and on their first play they finally get something going as Mahomes fakes and fires to Tyreek Hill for 22 yards into Denver territory. Next play, the give goes to Brandon Oliver, who gets outside and right to the marker as he runs into a wall but does get 10 to move the chains. Then on 1st and 10, it's Mahomes throwing and going back to Hill on the crosser as he also gets right to the marker, but it's just shy of a 1st down, so make it 2nd and inches. But right as Portland starts to get some momentum, it's yet another red zone turnover as Mahomes throwing for the end zone gets picked off by a man at the 10-yard line, and the disastrous 3rd quarter for Portland continues as they come away with nothing. Then on 3rd and 11 for Denver, Keenum floats one deep, but Steven Nelson gets his hand in there to knock it away, bringing up 4th down and a Denver punt. Broncos kick it away to Tyreek Hill, who takes it from the 22, picks up a block to spring him outside, then he makes a devastating juke and nearly gets the edge, but the big return sets up Portland in Denver territory. Then to end the 3rd quarter, Mahomes throwing and getting great protection before he finds a long Winborn laid over the middle for 24 yards, giving Portland 1st and goal. Then on 3rd and goal from the 3, Mahomes looks and fires to Tyreek Hill, who hangs on for the score, and Mahomes' 4th touchdown pass of the game cuts the Denver lead to 3. Broncos trying to avoid a 3 and out, but on 3rd and 9, Keenum throws deep, but it's Ken Crawley getting his hand in there this time to force the Denver punt. So Portland gets it right back, and on their 2nd play, Mahomes throwing and drops one into long Winborn for an 18-yard gain to midfield. Then next play, Mahomes with the fake drifting back and fires to long Winborn again, this time for 36 yards down to the Denver 13. And on the next play, Mahomes puts Portland back out in front with the 13-yard strike to Ricky Seals-Jones and a 3rd touchdown catch for the reserve tight end. And after trailing by 10 to start the 4th less than 5 minutes later, Portland now takes a 4-point lead. Broncos looking to respond, and on 2nd and 7, it's Keenum to Jake Butt for 16 yards and a Denver 1st down. Then faced with a 3rd and 3, Broncos just across midfield, and Keenum finds Emmanuel Sanders for a 14-yard catch to convert. But then on 3rd and 1, it's Justin Jackson who can't get back to the line of scrimmage, so make it 4th and 2. Denver goes for it and gives to Philip Lindsay this time, who gets just past the marker to move the chains. But after a sack on 1st down, Keenum fakes and is engulfed in blue by Justin Houston, so 1st and 10 turns into 3rd and 27, where Denver throws the shallow cross to Emmanuel Sanders, who gets blasted and fumbles. Kendall Fuller recovers, and Portland takes possession right near midfield. And with a 4-point lead, Portland staying aggressive as Mahomes loads up and drops the deep ball right into the hands of Tyreek Hill for the 48-yard gain down to the Denver 11. Then on 3rd and 4, Portland trying to put it away. Mahomes looking to throw, moves to his right and finds Ricky Seals-Jones, who walks in for his 4th touchdown catch of the game, spikes it right in David Amerson's face, and then waves goodbye to any Denver fans left in the dome. And with 2:07 to go, Portland leads by 11. Denver still with an outside shot, but you know what kills a comeback? A Riverhog interception. Keenum throws it right to Dorian O'Daniel, who brings it back all the way to the Denver 7-yard line. And with 1:52 to go, that's going to all but seal this one. But Denver decides to use their timeout, so on 2nd and goal, Mahomes throwing and going to Seals-Jones for his 5th touchdown catch, but he overthrows him and it's incomplete. But on 3rd and goal, Mahomes throwing again and hits long Winborn in the end zone for a record-tying 7th touchdown pass of the game. And Mahomes also becomes the first player in NFL history to account for 8 touchdowns as he throws for 7, runs for 1, and is a one-man donkey destroyer, throwing for 434 yards as the Riverhogs outscore the Broncos 28-0 in the fourth quarter and take this one 56-38. Ricky Seals-Jones has a career day, going off for 11 catches and 133 yards, along with the 4 touchdowns. Emmanuel Sanders has 3 of his own, and on a wild day with 939 total yards of offense and 7 turnovers, the Broncos fall to 3-8 on the year and will head home after the loss to face the New England Patriots. Meanwhile, Portland packs their bags for the next month as they begin a 4-game road trip starting next week in Detroit. All right, guys, so interesting game there. That's one of those games that I guess I enjoy playing because I do win, and the numbers I put up with Mahomes were pretty insane, but I'd honestly rather not play games like that very often. It's kind of weird, though, because that's not altogether much different than the actual Chiefs this season, where they have 0 defense whatsoever, but Mahomes is doing crazy things and throwing the ball all over the place. But ideally, that kind of game is going to be few and far between, and I'd say to that extent, it has been for the most part this season. I've played some high-scoring games this year, but overall it's been a pretty decent mix, I think. But as you guys saw, we moved to 10-1 with the back and forth game. An absolutely huge day from Mahomes. But with that, we're going to move on to some of the team stuff, and we're done with negotiations this year, so it's straight to scouting, where we had a pair of draft tweets this week, starting with one from Mark Schlereth, who says, some games Kirby Glanton dominates, others he gets dominated, where's the consistency? And then we also had one from Todd McShay that says, teams are working overtime reshaping their wide receiver rankings after news of Gordon Cummings' injury. Tough break for him. And that's a story we had last season as well, where the player is going to disappear and then pop up again around the combine. So we'll keep him noted and then look for him then. But moving to the draft board additions, we do have a full board this week, starting with Kirby Glanton, who, as Mark Schlereth noted, is Mr. Inconsistency, and he's a second-round projection and true talent at left guard. Then we have Eldrin Camp, who's a second-round projected corner, but third-round true talent. But based on those 3 attributes, he's actually one of the better corners in the draft. Then we have some late-rounders in Jarrell Lindsey out of Washington at right end, Morgan Dakoud, a running back out of Villanova, and then lastly, Sanchez Bassi, a left tackle out of Montana. But with that, we're going to move right on into scores from week 12, where things started with yet another tie as the Lions and Bears finished 16-16 in Detroit. Then in the other Thursday game, the Dolphins narrowly avoid their 3rd consecutive tie by losing 24-23 to the Bills. Moving to Sunday, the Colts take down the Ravens 17-7, Browns 28-20 over the Cardinals, Texans 20-6 over the Raiders, Eagles get a big 31-28 road win over the Cowboys, Panthers beat the Vikings 27-7, 49ers win in Pittsburgh 27-19, Saints over the Bucks 24-17, Redskins drop the Packers, Falcons go to OT with the Jaguars and pick up a big 33-27 win. Seahawks and Rams also play to a tie, this one 17-17 in Los Angeles. Patriots beat the Bengals. Then on Sunday night, the 1-9 Titans upset the Chargers, so a huge loss for them and their AFC West aspirations. Then on Monday night, the Jets win the Battle of New York, beating the Giants 20-17. So as the season winds down, we switch from looking at the standings to the playoff picture, and looking at the AFC, things are still pretty wide open with lots of teams still mathematically alive. We do hold the number 1 seed now by 2 games over the Jaguars with their loss. Bills and Ravens have identical records and are the 3 and 4 seeds. Chargers and Texans are tied at 7 and 4 and currently hold the wild cards, while the Steelers are the only team in the hunt over 500 and sit a game back of a playoff spot. Meanwhile, the Browns, Jets, Colts, Dolphins, and Raiders all face uphill battles to earning a playoff berth. Then on the NFC side, we see a much more clear picture as the Rams become the first team to clinch a playoff spot, as they will be the NFC West champions. Their tie also keeps them ahead of the second-seeded Redskins, who are also a game ahead of both the Saints and Lions, who oddly enough are tied despite having very different looking records. The Falcons and Eagles currently hold the 2 wildcard spots, while the Cowboys, Bears, and Panthers are all chasing for a playoff bid. The AFC Offensive Player of the Week couldn't have possibly been anyone other than Patrick Mahomes. As you all saw, Mahomes accounted for all 8 of our touchdowns, tying an NFL record with 7 touchdown passes and throwing for 434 yards, while also adding the 1 score on the ground. Mahomes' record-setting day paced the way for a 56-38 win over the Broncos in Portland. On the NFC side, the quarterback we'll be seeing next week takes home the Offensive Player of the Week in the Lions' Matthew Stafford. Stafford threw for 405 yards but had all of his touchdown passes stolen by Patrick Mahomes and only reached the end zone once on the day, which is part of the reason that the Lions were only able to come away with a 16-16 tie against Chicago. After having 16 tackles against us last week, rookie Rashad Harrion of the Colts wins this week's AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Harrion was in on only 6 tackles this week, but was able to get a sack in addition to a forced and recovered fumble, as the Colts defense that was victimized by us to the tune of nearly 600 yards held the Ravens to just 7 points in their win this week. Then on the NFC side, it's another player we'll be seeing this week as the Lions sweep the NFC awards and Quandre Diggs takes home the Defensive Player of the Week. Diggs was in on 9 tackles from his strong safety spot and picked off Mitchell Trubisky once, returning it for 18 yards. As just mentioned, Diggs and the Lions were unable to come away with the victory and played to a 16-16 tie with the Bears. Moving on to the league leaders, we see Jared Goff continuing to lead the way with his 117.3 passer rating, and then with his monster week, our own Patrick Mahomes takes back over the league lead in passing yards with 3,555, and then also takes over the passing touchdown lead with 28 on the year. Moving on to the rushers, we see another change at the top with Ezekiel Elliott taking the rushing yard lead away from an injured Le'Veon Bell. Deontay Foreman also appears with the leaders this week as he pulls into a tie with Todd Gurley with 10 rushing touchdowns, and then with his injury, Le'Veon Bell will continue to lead the way with his 6.4 yard per carry average. On to the receivers, where DeAndre Hopkins adds 9 more catches and continues to lead the league in receptions with 76. Then at receiving yards, our own Tyreek Hill continues to be the only player over 1,000 yards receiving and leads the way with his 1,169 yards through the air. Then lastly, Cooper Kupp adds a pair of touchdowns this week and extends his league leading total to 12 touchdown catches. And then lastly, the defensive leaders, were after a week away, Anthony Hitchens once again holds the top spot in tackles with an even 100. Tyrone Crawford has failed to reach the quarterback the last couple weeks, but still sits at the top of the sacks leaders with 10, and it's the same story for interceptions, where Patrick Peterson's 5 picks in the first 4 games have continued to hold up through 12 weeks. As we wrap up, we take a look at next week's schedule, where things kick off on Thursday night with the Bucks at Seahawks. Moving to Sunday, the Bills head to Philly, Miami at Washington, Minnesota at Chicago, Panthers at Jaguars in the 1995 Expansion Bowl, Ravens at Jets, and then we begin a 4-game road trip at Detroit, who's coming off their second tie of the year, Giants at Cowboys and Bengals at Browns, Packers at Falcons, Colts at Raiders, Saints at Titans, Texans at Chargers in a matchup of the 2 current AFC wildcards, 49ers Cardinals. Then on Sunday night, the Steelers travel to LA to face the Rams, and then on Monday night, the 3-8 Patriots head to Denver to face the 3-8 Broncos in America's dud of the week. But that's going to do it for this wild week as we extend the winning streak to 5 for the second time this season with a 50-burger against the Broncos. Really starting to hit a stride offensively, but unfortunately the defense has been nothing less than Swiss cheese lately as we've given up 35 and 38 in back-to-back games. But join me next video as we start the toughest stretch of the season, as with 5 games left, we begin a 4-game road stretch starting with the game in Detroit against Matthew Stafford and the Lions. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, thanks for watching.